B is the y-intercept, M is the slope for slope-intercept form. And slope-intercept form is really the working equation. You use it to get to standard form. That's the one. Standard is where you present your answer in a fancy form. Slope-intercept is the form that you use to get there. All right. So, if you're looking at an equation in slope-intercept form, it's very easy to just look at it and say what the slope and the y-intercept is. It's a very efficient equation, especially if you're graphing. For the first one, the slope is 1/2, and the y-intercept that's plus -7, so the y-intercept would be -7. Anybody can look at a slope-intercept equation and say the slope and the y-intercept. My first grade son could do it if I asked him to. Second one, slope is 2, y-intercept is 5. When it gets a little more exciting is when it is not in slope-intercept form, and then you have to put it in slope-intercept form, which requires you to use your algebraic skills learned last chapter. So in this third example, if I wanted to get the y by itself, I would subtract the 4x to the other side. And then divide by a -6. And all three terms need to be divided by a -6. 4/6, which reduces to 2/3, and then -12 over -6 is +2. So looking at that, I can see that my slope would be 2/3, and my y-intercept +2. So just adding a little algebraic maneuvering to our concept, we're able to get slope-intercept form rather easily. Now what we're going to do is we are going to write some equations in slope-intercept form. I've got 3 up here. I will go through the first one with you. Then I will let you do the second one on your own. And then the third one we'll talk about together. First one, I'm trying to get the y by itself like we just talked about. So I'm going to move the x term over to the other side. Positive 3x, so we're going to subtract it. And I'm going to throw that 3x in front of the 15, because that way it looks like mx plus b. The x comes before the constant. Then to divide by -5, that's going to get the y all by itself. I end up with y equals 3/5 x minus 3. And if I was asked to name the slope and the y-intercept, I could look at it and say the slope is 3/5. The y-intercept is 3. Now I want you to try the next one. Step 1 should be moving the x to the other side via subtraction. And then step 2, dividing by 7. I do not want you to change those to decimals. I do not want mixed numbers. I do not want 1 and 5/7. Okay, I want you to leave things as improper fractions. 12/7. For the third one, same idea. The only problem here is you're missing an x, which really isn't a problem. So we're going to divide by 7, and we get y equals 15/7, which is in slope-intercept form if you fill in a ghost term for the x. And so you get y equals 0x minus 15/7. Okay, so now we're going to do, I've got 9 examples. We won't get through all of them today. We'll get through some of them, where we are writing an equation in standard form that satisfies the conditions. In other words, I'm going to give you a couple clues to the equation that I'm thinking about. You have to tell me the equation that I'm thinking about. Okay, the first couple are going to be simple because they are the most basic clues I could ask you. Then I'm going to mix it up and make it more exciting. First one, the slope is -5. And the line passes through -3/8. We are going to use slope-intercept form to get to standard form. Remember I said slope-intercept form is kind of the one you work with, and then at the end you present it in standard form. So to start, we have y equals mx plus b, and we're going to fill in numbers for everything except b. We know the slope, and we know a point. And those are the two ingredients you need to cook through this problem. A slope and a point. And like I said, in this first couple, I'm giving you exactly what you want. So the slope is going to go in for m. We know that the slope abbreviation is m. The point that it passes through is going in for x and y. The -3 goes in for the x, and the -8 goes in for the y. That should be self-explanatory. And those numbers go into the equation, leaving us with only one variable to solve for, b. So now you do your chapter 1 work, trying to get the b by itself. -5 times -3 is 15. Subtract the 15 to the other side. I get that b in this case is equal to -23. That's enough information for us. We need these two pieces of information that I circled to answer the question. We need the slope and the y-intercept. We take those two pieces of information and we write a slope-intercept equation with them. Y equals -5 times x minus 23. That is not in standard form, though. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. So to get it to be in standard form, I'm going to add the 5x over to the left, giving me an answer of 5x plus y equals -23. Your turn. See how far you can get with that one. I'll give you a couple minutes and then we'll go over it. Step 1, the slope is 4/5. That's going in for m. The 10 is going in for x. The -3 is going in for y. Now we have to solve for b. 4/5 times 10 is 8. Subtract the 8 to the other side. I get b is equal to -11. Did you get that? Did you get that far? B is equal to -11. Check your mistake. Check the work up there. See what you did wrong. So now I'm going to use my slope and my y-intercept to write a slope-intercept equation. Always go back and find those so I know what I'm writing in my slope-intercept equation. Move the x to the other side. -4/5 x plus y equals -11 is what that says under there. And then you cannot have fractions in standard form. So we're going to multiply everything by 5. Giving you an answer of -4x plus 5y is -55. I'll give you a couple minutes to try this one. Same idea, and then we'll go over it. Slope is a half. Point is 8, -2. 8 times a half is 4. I get b is -6 for this one. B is -6. So your slope and your y-intercept are 1/2 and -6. We need to put that in standard form, so we're going to move the 1/2 to the left. Multiply by 2. -x plus 2y is -12. In the next ones, we're missing something. I am not giving you a slope and a point. I'm giving you clues, but it should be enough for you to get a slope and a point from it. You cannot start the process that we've done 3 times now without a slope and a point. Notice here, I've given you 2 points. Is there any possible way in the world we can find the slope given 2 points? Yes, there is. Our issue here is the fact that we don't have anything to put in for m in our little process. So now we have to go off to the side and we have to find m using our slope formula. y minus y over x minus x. When I do this problem, I get a slope of negative 5/3. Remember, if you have a negative on just the bottom, it floats up to the top. So having 5 over negative 3, that doesn't really look right. You have to move the negative to the top, so it's negative 5/3. So now we have a slope. We have 2 points. We only need 1. It does not matter which one you pick. I usually pick the one that looks easier to work with to me, which is usually the one that has fewer negative signs. And so I'm going with the slope and the 4/3. That's what I'm going to work with. It does not matter which one you pick. You will come up with the same answer either way. So now we start our process that we've just done 3 times in a row with our slope and our point. So there's our slope. There's our point. Negative 5/3 times 4 is negative 20/3. When I add the 20/3 over to a 3, I get 29/3. Remember, I do not like mixed numbers and I do not like decimals. So I have a slope and I have a point. Or I have a slope and I have a y-intercept, sorry. Y equals negative 5/3 x plus 29/3. To get that in standard form, I'm going to move the 5/3 x over here and multiply by 3. All right, you try the next one all by yourself. Boom. We'll go through it here in a couple minutes. My slope that I found when I did this problem was negative 7/2. Negative 7/2. And the point that I'm going to use is negative 8/4. Negative 7/2 times negative 8 is 28. Subtract the 28, I get that b is negative 24. So now I have a slope and a b to work with, which is all I need to write a slope-intercept equation. Move the x to the other side and multiply by 2. 7x plus 2y is negative 48. Okay, last one we're going to do today. Okay, so I'm going to say that our slope is 2/3 using y minus y over x minus x. I'll use 311 for my point. 2/3 times 3 is 2. And that means that b is 9. So my slope is 2/3. My b is 9. Negative 2x plus 3y equals 27.